I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Fans of Shovel Knight and The Messenger, buy this game. Now here's why. Cyber Shadow continues the reputation that Yacht Club Games established with their Shovel Knight series, crafting old school design games for the modern era. While it should be noted that Cyber Shadow is developed by Mechanical Head Studios, not Yacht Club Games, they did publish this, and having played it now, I can totally see why. Cyber Shadow is awesome. Taking place in a grim future where the world has been taken over by the evil Dr. Progan and his synthetic army, you play as Shadow. They're a skilled warrior and the sole survivor of their clan, now set on the mission to unravel what happened and save their master. Along with your cute little robot buddy, Eljon, the two of you run through the ruins of Mecha City, a once buzzing metropolis now left and ruined by the robots meant to protect it. Although the story is mostly told through in-game text dialogue, each chapter does a good job of introducing retro-styled cutscenes that push the story forward. For the classic style it tries to go for, it does a fantastic job at staying true to form while still being an impressive presentation. Cyber Shadow strives to capture the 8-bit era of pixel-perfect platformers, and it sticks to landing quite flawlessly. Across the about 20 chapters, I felt the incorporation of classic NES games from Super Mario Bros., Ninja Gaiden, and Contra. In the early stages of the game, Shadow can't do much besides platform over obstacles, slash away at enemies, and dodging oncoming projectiles. Things were simple, occasionally challenging, but overall entertaining. However, with every chapter completed, a new boss fight would show up, quickly keeping me on my toes ready for a vigorous duel. The reward waiting for me at the end of them is finding another fallen member of my clan who then transferred over their powers to aid me on my quest to stop the synthetic army. This is where the real fun began. With every new power, new enemies and level design elements would show up in the following chapter. By chapter 3, I already felt like I was well equipped to take on whatever the game threw at me. I could launch projectiles and shoot fire above me. What more could I want? Well, a lot more apparently, and that was the joy of continuing each chapter. With every chapter came a new power and a new counter gameplay element to put them to the challenge. With my projectile powers came stages with switches that I couldn't reach before, and breakable objects I'd have to use as platforms. With my fire powers came enemies that could only be attacked from above. All these elements separately were cool, but as I got toward the end of the game, all of them in conjunction with another kept the platforming action feeling fresh and challenging. Later powers wouldn't further develop my attacks, but instead aided my platforming, not only letting me further develop my offense, but also my mobility across platforms. All of these abilities were only further reiterated with the boss battles that would then put my skills to the test in the same vein as Mega Man's Robot Masters. Outside of the combat, platforming my way through levels, I found myself consistently being slightly annoyed by the respawn point placement. While not terrible, there was always one place right before a boss fight, so anytime I defeated said boss and went on to the next area and died, I'd be transported all the way back to right before the last boss fight I defeated. Luckily the boss stayed defeated, but having to physically backtrack over and over again did get tedious. Outside of that slight annoyance, I thoroughly enjoyed playing through Cyber Shadow. Combat was great and continued to evolve the more I played, not only further developing my powers, but my mobility and the complexity of levels. Always chasing down the next boss fight to earn my new power was continuously a rush of adrenaline that I never got over until the very moment I reached the credits. By then, I was just eager to tell you guys to buy this game. You might take a look at Cyber Shadow and think, wow, this game looks just like an old NES game, but there's so much more going on here. While yes, the sprite work is immaculate here, what I really love is the modernization of the art style. The parallax backgrounds add layers to the world that breathes life to the otherwise static backgrounds of the late 80s platformers. Animations work within the constraints of the sprite work, but animate at a much more fluid rate that look marvelous. Handcrafted cutscenes also help carry the otherwise told through text story that was surprisingly gripping with its presentation. All of this together helps create a fantastic looking modern yet retro design platformer that's easily a new favorite of mine. This is all yet to mention the little touches that the dev added, like a CRT filter that truly makes this gem feel authentically retro. There's even a bonus little bad wiring effect that you can toggle on that only further helps sell the effect. I found myself playing with these filters on for most of the game, though I went back and captured some gameplay with the effect off for the sake of this review. All in all, Cyber Shadow may look old, but that doesn't keep the latest indie from taking the presentation limelight away from the games pushing the next-gen console tech. Composed by Enrique Martin, the bass-thumping soundtrack is incredible. There's a mix of chiptune and rock music that struck a chord with me anytime there was some action on screen. Likewise, I think Enrique did a solid job capturing the mood of the branching moments. Exploring the opening of the game with very little knowledge of what was happening at the time, the music takes a slow, almost more ominous approach, while later levels take a more robust approach that captures the sense of adventure Shadow evokes with every one of his missions. Now, I'm not sure who did the sound effects for this game, my guess would be the single dev that worked on it, but I'm happy to report that they're also well done. From the little explosions of robots being destroyed to the high-pitched pews of projectiles coming at you, I loved every second of it. Cyber Shadow is easily already one of my favorite games of 2021, and it's only January. It's rare for a game to be able to accurately capture a retro era of video games without fumbling on some old design flaws that come with that era. Outside of maybe some repetition that came with the checkpoint placement, Cyber Shadow never failed to amaze me. It was a challenge, but a fun and most definitely satisfying one. Pick this up when you get the chance, you won't be disappointed. Hey everyone, thanks for clicking on the video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe and show your support with a like. If you want to keep up with me outside of YouTube, then you can follow me on Twitter or join my Discord server. Both are linked in the description below and I'm pretty active on both. I love you all very much and I'll see you all in the next video.